Welcome to Comments Podcast, the show where we discuss a variety of topics with your host, Nina. Earlier this week on Sunday and then on Monday, the UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson made an announcement of the first steps towards modifying the lockdown measures that have been instigated since early March. I think a lot of the public, especially, these measures are only really applicable in England and at this stage. And personally, and I know many other members of the public probably, and businesses as well as employees, we all welcome to see some easing of the measures, just so that we can adjust to returning to normal life eventually. And this announcement just sort of ensures that there is that glimmer of hope in the not too distant future, hopefully, that we will be able to get back to our normal lives. And the first step has been that from earlier this week, from Wednesday today, people have been permitted to, it doesn't have to be exclusively key workers, to not only take unlimited outdoor exercise, as long as we adhere to social distancing guidelines. We will also be encouraged to return back to the workplace, and that will alleviate a lot of anxiety for people who may be now tentatively considering what their financial position will be in the future, or whether there will be a job waiting for them to return to, and this will just give a degree of reassurance to businesses to open up and ensure that they have a business to run. Boris Johnson, PM, is encouraging people to return to the workplace because this is it's the first phase of a three-step plan to ease the lockdown measures. And we've all sort of become accustomed, majority of us, to perform our tasks from home. But there are many in different sectors, for example, construction and manufacturing industries, where you need to have the workers return, and it is a case of reopening up society and obviously everything is conditional on the rate of infection not increasing, and that is something that will sort of create a degree of trepidation, especially if you're using public transport to return to work, because unfortunately, as for most of us who live in London or work in London, we have to commute to work and highly reliant on public transport, whether it's the buses or the tube. And that is something that we'll just need to wait and see how they will be able to enforce social distancing within the public transport. And it will be a case of relying upon the compliance of members of the public, and again, as the new word that's being touted, using common sense, whether ensuring that you're not situated in too close proximity to an individual's, maintaining as close as possible, adhering to the 2 meter social distance and wearing face coverings. Unfortunately, you'll always have a small minority who will flagrantly not adhere to these guidelines, and there's always that worry how to contend with those individuals. So we'll just have to wait and see how that is going to pan out in the future. And obviously the easing of the first baby steps towards easing the lockdown measures in England is based on apparently upon scientific advice and evidence from SAGE, and it's dependent upon the R infection rate having decreased and it's been consistent throughout the last couple of weeks. It's also again a bit controversial, the new slogan of the UK government, "Stay alert, control the virus, save lives." Again, it's always arguable. Nothing will be ever 100% right, but it replaces the old slogan of "Stay at home, protect the NHS, save lives," which I think we can all sort of now have learned off by heart, and we can repeat it probably a couple of months down the line. And the most important thing is to just see that there is a glimmer of hope of the economy now reviving, and a real sense that we can return back to some semblance of normality in the which it's been difficult to envisage while we've had to stringently adhere to the lockdown measures of staying at home and mitigating any external contact at all unless it's relevant and within the government guidelines. Again, we won't be seeing there will be a divergence obviously in policy within the four nations, Northern Ireland, Wales and Scotland, as the various nations, like in the rate of transmission may be higher, and they will then obviously need to adjust their lockdown policy in accordance to what's happening in that particular area. And it's important to recognise that there will be different rates of transmission across the UK in different and the public will need to be obviously very responsible as to ensuring that we're not taking trips across the border as such, and long walks are fine, but I think we just have to be really use a huge dose of common sense to ensure that we don't regress and we can sort of just get over this current pandemic as quickly as possible. And again, this is the first stage and just tentative steps towards adjusting towards a new normality, and will take time to be able to sort of balance working within these new restrictions, but we'll have to wait and see if we can really tackle this virus as quickly as possible. and hopefully just adjust to this different normality.
Thank you for tuning into today's episode. You can subscribe to the Comments podcast via iTunes, Spotify, and other major providers.